Up first, it's simple jewel tones and ancient grains. There aren't very many dishes in this world of recipes that are comforting and made really quickly on a stovetop. Risotto is one of them, but it does take about 20 minutes, so I tried it with quinoa, which speeds up the process and also ups the protein level. When you're looking to cut back on the carbs and get a little healthier, this is a fantastic alternative. Okay, so the secret to risotto is having a nice hot stock. You can use a meat stock or vegetable stock. Have it nearby, nice and hot. And I have some fresh thyme here, and I'm going to add that to the stock. And that will just enhance the flavor. Okay, now butter in the pan. So just swirl this butter around, get it all lovely and melted. And an onion chopped up, nice and fine. With risotto, the grains are just like a thick rice grain. So you can imagine it's nice to chop the vegetables to sort of mimic that size. This time we're using quinoa, which is even smaller. So the classic combo is usually a shallot and celery. Onion is fine as well. So whiz up those vegetables. So we just want to stir this until they're soft and coated. Now this is red quinoa that we're using. You can get sort of really black quinoa or white quinoa. It's all the same, just different colors. It varies a little bit. It's a grain from South America and it's filled with protein. So once this is nice and soft, add your protein grains, otherwise known as quinoa. We're basically just toasting the quinoa at this stage, coated in that nice butter. Deglaze with white wine. So I'm going to turn the heat up ever so slightly. We'll create a little sizzle. The way to make risotto is to have hot stock nearby and you ladle it in a little at a time, slowly letting each grain absorb liquid. So we're going to do the same, but quinoa is a little different than a risotto grain, so it's going to happen quite fast, comparatively. Usually when you're making risotto, it's not a frantic, rushed event at all. So when the liquid is absorbed, just add another ladle. And you just keep going until it's nice and thick. And each little grain of quinoa has puffed up a little bit. I'm going to do something kind of different and special. I have some cooked beets here, just little baby ones that have been peeled, and I'm going to put them in the food processor and turn them into a really beautiful, vibrant puree and stir them into the quinoa. It's going to be one of those wow moments when it all comes together, I promise. Beet juice is filled with natural dyes. Be careful in your kitchen, okay? And just whiz them up. Okay, step to the side, have a little stir. Okay, this is almost ready for another ladle. Just make sure it's always at a gentle simmer. You don't want it to be too low of a heat so nothing happens, or too high that it scorches. Just hang out with it, keeping a left eye on the situation. Meanwhile, I'm going to make a little topping for this risotto. Little bit of goat cheese, some nice creamy goat cheese. And I have the most divine creme fraiche. And I think I would just use a little bit of sour cream if I didn't have creme fraiche. So decadent and yummy. Okay, this is calling my name. So when you can see all the grains and there's not a puddle isn't there anymore, add some more stock. There we go. Okay, back over here, just mash up this nice little creamy topping. So whip that together. And I have some garlic here. I'm just going to grate a little bit of this in, making a savory cheese. Scrape that in. Just give this a stir. Just a little delicate touch of garlic. All right. Back over at the stove. Good things are happening. I have just a couple beets reserved to garnish as well. It's nice to have just a little cubed example on top of what's inside. Matchstick the beets. Put these in a nice neat bowl. All right. When your quinoa has soaked up all of that lovely thyme-infused stock, turn off the heat, let it rest for just a second. You can finish it at this stage with a little pat of butter or a nice swirl of olive oil. Just a bit to finish. Give it a little stir and add this beautiful ruby red addition. So gorgeous. This will also really thicken up. So pretty, the beets. Okay, grab a plate. I'm going to use my ladle so we can get a nice big portion on here. Why not? Oh my gosh, that pops so beautifully against the white plate. And then a little bit of my creamy goat cheese garlicky creation. It's like a little bird's nest. And so add a little whole beet on top. And it's crying out for some green. So garnish with whatever you have. I have some gorgeous basil leaves here. Oh yeah, and some thyme leaves as well. So pretty. And there you are. A little innovation in the kitchen, quinoa risotto, made in, I'd say, half the time. Oh yeah, let that creaminess just melt through. It's so rewarding when your food is beautiful and delicious all at the same time. Chock full of the good stuff, beets and quinoa are filling, nourishing, tasty, and pretty.